Hello, this is Don Shanahan of EveryMovieHasALesson.com, and welcome to a new edition of the Movie Classroom, an interactive whiteboard-backed video review for YouTube of current and even vintage films if we get carried away with this whole process. This week, it's the third week of June, which means it's the annual Pixar week, and the new film this year is Cars 3, which has a tough act to follow after Finding Dory last year being the largest earning Pixar film of all time. Cars 3 really does return to form from where the Cars film franchise started with Cars 1, and I think this is a 4-star out of 5-star film. Here's my review. The late businessman and philanthropist Dave Thomas, the founder of the Wendy's fast food chain, once said, quote, "It all comes back to basics. Serve customers the best tasting food at a good value in clean, comfortable restaurant, and they'll keep coming back." Apply that telling quote of ease and simplicity to Cars 3 as a perfect parallel. The savvy creators at Pixar, second to none in animation quality, know how to package a quality product of staggering merchandising power with clean and clear values that gain brand loyalty from wide audiences. By scaling back from the zany international scope of Cars 2 and returning to its Americana roots, Cars 3 rediscovers the franchise's successful foundation of wholesome heart. Former rookie sensation Lightning Mcqueen, voiced by Owen Wilson, had to age to become a living legend in the Piston Cup, a spitting image of the role model his mentor Doc Hudson knew he could become. There are nice callbacks to Paul Newman in this film, and the film really kind of grabs a lot of archival footage of him to bring him back. However, the race is much different than it used to be. New advanced race cars led by Jackson Storm, voiced by Armie Hammer, are backed by oodles of technology and endless metrics. They have surged forward to revolutionize the scene and push out the older and obsolete racers. Vying to return after a debilitating crash ends his season, Mcqueen leans on support systems both old and new to mount a comeback. Spencer, voiced by Nathan Fillion, is the new Rusty's sponsor/billionaire mogul, and he brings Mcqueen to flashy new facilities and employs a top-notch trainer named Cruz Ramirez, voiced by TV star Cristela Alonso, to whip the champ into shape and maximize his earning power as a brand. When that doesn't take mere days before the inaugural race of the season, Mcqueen leans on his dedicated Radiator Springs compadres like Sally and Mater, voiced again by Bonnie Hunt and Larry the Cable Guy, and seeks out Doc Hudson's own original crew chief, Smokey, voiced by Chris Cooper, for deeper grassroots training, improvement, and healing. One necessary compliment must go in this film to the strides of diversity included in the ensemble voice casting. The film touts a Latino woman co-lead, an educated black woman, played by Kerry Washington as data analysis Natalie Certain, an openly gay lesbian, Orange as the new black star Leia Delaria as the Demo Derby Queen Miss Fritter, who's a hilarious part, and a biracial Brit, Formula One driver Lewis Hamilton as a Serial-like program, in addition to the returning likes of Cheech Marin, Jennifer Lewis, and Tony Shalhoub. Mark those new additions as continually progressive steps for a NASCAR-like landscape that normally is dominated by white males. Taking a step back, much of the narrative reads like a suspect vehicular blend of Rocky IV and Talladega Nights, The Ballad of Ricky Bobby, when you look at this redemption story of age. Cars 3 does borrow a page from the first act of Finding Dory last summer, taking time for a fast-forward version of callbacks, reintroductions, and establishing shots that mirror the 2006 original, which can drag down a little bit of the running time and make you kind of check your watch, like, are we just watching a copy or not? Furthermore, much of the film feels like a cyclical collection of training montages backed by Randy Newman's prime musical score. I counted in my brain, but no less than 5 extended set pieces serve kind of the common and repetitive purpose of presenting an unorthodox training method to be tamed by Mcqueen and his shadowing coach Ramirez, leading Cars 3 to feel more than a little repetitive in its 100 minutes. Each set piece is definitely very different, but at the same time you realize you're kind of watching a bit of the same momentum. Quite unexpectedly, though, and this is where the redemption comes, all the chase and race of Cars 3 gives way to what I've been calling for the last few years the signature Pixar punch calling card in a momentous finale. An endearing emotional swerve pays off the patience and lip service the film's 7 screenplay and story writers stuffed into demonstrably more mature themes. See my lessons at the end for where I'm going with that, than the original film's kind of golly gee affability from 2006. This sequel is an overdue love letter to Paul Newman. It revitalized through unused audio recordings, and it's a positive moral exercise for all ages and genders. This is the first Pixar film in a while that's back down to rated G instead of PG, so it really is quite squeaky clean and accessible for the whole family. I think more audiences that are adult are going to get more of the humor and jokes about retirement and age, but I think regular kids can have this explained to them and not really miss too much. But when that heart gear hits in Cars 3, all of the repetitiveness washes away to a satisfying series of smiles that you're going to have a hard time wiping off your face. I won't say what they are, and I'm a spoiler-free review, but the progressive stuff that comes with the diversity and the progressive stuff that comes from even gender roles and empowerment really do show up beautifully towards the final third of Cars 3, and it pays off what you've really been looking for. Getting back, as it turns out, getting back to basics was exactly what this franchise needed, and Cars 3 is the spot for that. My life lessons that I kind of put on the end of my review is kind of my signature piece, so here comes lesson 1. Lesson 1 is mental hurdles are larger than all others. For the first time in his career, Lightning McQueen has a confidence problem. The guy who is normally pep talking himself up with I am speed and being the most dashing guy on the racetrack isn't anymore. Physically, he's not the fastest anymore and has to develop new smarts and skills. But the greater conditioning at play is rebuilding his mindset to be a winner against his contemporaries, and a winner defined more by being a winner that can be defined more than just with checkered flags and trophies. Lesson number 2, leaving your livelihood on your own terms. Pinging the adults in the audience, this lesson of Cars 3 tiptoes through the landscape that older adults face in accepting diminished skills, retirement options, mentorship, mortality, and even legacy. Do you graciously plan for closure and pass the torch willingly when those moments come, or do you fight the inevitable to crash and burn trying to keep up with the young folks? There's a bit of that at play at Cars 3. And the last lesson, lesson 3, is a little bit of this film's kind of, I'll explain it in the lesson here, but before being beset by lesson number 1, the idea of mental hurdles, Lightning McQueen knew he belonged among the best racers because he pushed himself. Lightning McQueen has everything it takes to be a champion still, even in his advanced age, if we want to say that, because the mindset was there for him and that confidence. So this lesson's line, be a racer, is kind of Cars 3 attempt to exceed the whole Finding Nemo quote of just keep swimming, but aiming to be part of the front of the pack. Not just keep swimming, but be the leader of the pack. This motivating mantra becomes about empowerment, pushing for your highest and loftiest goals rather than just settling for the small ones or quitting on your dreams and ambitions altogether. The characters that emerge in this film in that last third, and the people who maybe Lightning McQueen can pass the torch to, are definitely the people who need to be motivated by lesson number 3. The idea of don't just be a follower, don't just be in the race, but be a racer, aiming to win and be at the front of the pack. When you put all that together, you have a really nice film here. Like I said, a great G-rated thing, perfect for family audiences. This is not a Pixar loser film by any means. I think it's a nice piece of summer entertainment that family audiences will really take to. That's been my review of Cars 3. I hope to see you again next time for whatever the heck I have to review next. Thank you much, and see you next time.